Hello, everyone. We have Ms Padma Jyothi today. She is the co-editor of Talking Fingers and the upcoming Talking Fingers 2 as well. And she has also edited a number of books written by AAC users. And today we have her here to talk us through this journey of Talking Fingers and also how she encourages AAC users to write literature and to encourage creative writing in them. So I give it to Padma. Padma. Padma, are you there?
Hello,
We can hear you.
you can hear me now?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Hi, Bindu. Thanks for the lovely introduction. And I'm so happy to join you all. Thanks for the honor. Um, my name is Padma Jyothi. I've done my MSc in Applied Microbiology. And I love reading books. I'm your typical nerd who loves books, enjoys staying at home, my family. Um, my son was born just a week after my final practicals, uh, MSc practicals. So I thought I'll take a break for 2 years and be with him during those first 2 magical years when they learn everything,
Padma,
right?
1 second. Your video is not on. Would you like to keep it on?
Is it okay? Hi. Should I start again?
Problem. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I just wanted to be with him for those first 2 years, see him crawl for the first time, walk for the first time, talk for the first time, and then go back to pursue my PhD when he leaves for the school. But life had other curveballs, that other decisions. So once the autism diagnosis came in, I got just my PhD thesis shifted to autism, and I started reading books, more and more books, meeting people, talking to very experienced therapists, attending as many courses as possible. And during all this time, the one person who has helped me most, apart from my husband and family, is my son. You know, he has taught me more about autism and about being a good parent than anyone could have ever done that. And I'm incredibly grateful that I am his mom and we are in this journey together. It's not like I am teaching him or I'm guiding him. No, we are both learning together. We are both growing together. And that's how it is. We have been homeschooling him for a long time now. And initially, he was so hyperactive that the only way to make him look at me was to play with him, play basketball, play hide and seek, or play catch. So I was always on my toes, and he still keeps me on my toes. So that's in a brief journey about mine.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So, we're going to talk about Talking Fingers, the first volume, and how you started it, and how you gathered the questions and the authors for it.
Yes, Bindu. Talking Fingers was our response to the situation that we were facing, because there were many books that were written by non-speaking autistic and individuals, and they were published overseas. But we didn't have anything like that in India. And the unfortunate scenario was very few therapists were open to thinking beyond the norm that non-speaking autistics can think, then can communicate, and they have very eloquent communicators. So that was what we were set out to change. And since that Um, that's how Talking Fingers started. And once we wanted to try something different, not the typical essay format thing that we go for. So we thought we are getting a once in a lifetime opportunity to ask this beautiful mind some questions. So why not make the most of it? Then we got in touch with Ms. And she helped us out with questions. Aditi, I'm so sorry. I'm so stressed, and I'm doing the live session after a long time. We got in touch with Ms. Archita Basu. She's a very experienced special educator, and she helped us with some questions, and we added some questions of our own. Questions we thought we always wanted to ask someone, right? And we had 16 wonderful people who can answer those questions for us. That's how the questions came about. We tried to include as many diverse questions as possible to showcase how much is hidden in the silence, right? And one good thing that came out of Talking Fingers was people who thought that ASC could be used only for need based communication, they kind of woke up and realized that there is a world of communication that can happen beyond basic things. So many questions to ask, so many answers. And unless you ask them, unless you give them a chance, that won't happen, right? So that was the best thing that came out of Talking Fingers.
Since you know all the authors, how did they this book? Did they write, type? Did they use hours, letterboard? If you know of the ways that.
Actually, Bindu, it's a mix of both, of all the options that you give. Some prefer writing, some use letterboard, some type, and some use the Avaz app for communication, Avaz and other apps also for communication. So it's a mix and match. Each of the authors use multiple modes of communication also. They use RPM, letterboard, and typing, and Avaz also. So it's not like one either or, it's more like more of those combinations, depending on where they are and how comfortable they are in that scenario.
And did they take? How long did they take? Do you think, as just a rough estimate of to answer these 10? I mean, the questions that you sent.
Yes, yes. It was 1 month was the norm, but if they were not doing well or if something else was coming up, they took 15 days extra. But most of them sent it in 1 month.
And did you face any challenges like with child did not answer something or was not willing to answer something? So how do you handle any such situations?
See, when we send the questions, the idea was to answer at least 10 of them. So that when a reader reads it, it gives them an idea of their personality, right? So answering at least 10 of them was the thing we said. And what was surprising was most of them answered all the questions. And it was a huge surprise for parents also, because these are not questions we have conversations about at home, right? We don't ask them what are your thoughts on neurodiversity, how do you think about disability. This is not a regular conversation at home. And I truly applaud the parents because they just went to it with an open mind. They didn't think that maybe my child may not be able to answer. They just presumed that they will be able to answer. And all of us were surprised and super excited and happy because once the answers came in, it was beyond our imagination, even with our sons and everyone. That's true, holds true for everyone. And if someone was struggling with a particular question, the only suggestion I gave for both the parents from the first and second book was that to explain the terms to them, because these are new terms even for us, some of us, right? So explain what it means to them, and if possible break down the question into parts. Talk about neurodiversity, how they think about it, or what the break part the question into parts and combine those answers and send it across to you. That was the show videos about the topic if they are unaware. See, some prefer listening to a topic, some prefer seeing a video about it. right? So whatever means they are comfortable with, if they can see and understand what the question is about, they answered it. Nothing beyond that, I didn't do anything.
So comprehension was not like a roadblock for these individuals to answer, because a lot of children struggle with comprehending, right? And then
Yeah.
about it.
Yes, comprehending money, as I said, it's the newness of it. This kind of questions, right? And I remember telling one parent that these are questions even we will struggle to answer. Say, Bindu, come on, answer these questions. You will also think twice, thrice, right? How do I answer this? What are these questions? They're so tough. So yes, once they grasp what is being asked, they just answer it really well. That has been my experience with all the 32 others.
And Padma, a consistent question that comes up mostly in our group and in other groups also that I've seen is, once starts using an AAC device or even letterboard typing, they will start writing literature and poems soon after, within a matter of few months. So have you seen it happen, or is it mostly a myth that we should have?
No, actually, when I approached parents for the second book, the most common response I got was, my child doesn't write like the authors in the first book. He doesn't write poems, he doesn't use that big words, or he's not an eloquent communicator. So that was when I felt, and I repeated this again and again, that the aim of talking fingers is not to show that once you start typing, you'll become an author or you'll become a poet. It is to show that there is a wealth of knowledge within your child, which he is not able to, he or she is not able to express because we are not giving them an opportunity to express. They may or may not become a creative writer, that may not be their career choice, but they'll definitely become better communicators, they'll definitely become better self advocates. Because at the end of the day, that is the aim, right? To help them become advocate for themselves, show the world what they are capable of. if that if it is in writing, well and good. If it's in painting or art, well and good. If it is something else, well and good. And even if they just become good self advocates and change the mindsets of a few parents who are in the beginning stages of their journey, show them that it's not like a curse on your family to have someone neurodivergent. It's just that you have to change the parenting style or your path that you choose. Select. So all of us wanted to have a good career, right? But most of us have given up our career and are focusing on our children. But if you think of this as a beautiful journey with your child, discovering another facet of yourself, about how you can learn with them, I think it can become a very beautiful journey, and you can raise children who are proud of their neurodivergence. It's not something to be feel bad about or hide it. It's something to be proud of. Yes, they struggle, and yes, we can help them as much as possible, but it's still something to be proud of. The way they conquer all those things, the it's a beautiful journey to see your child grow, right? Learning new things, overcoming the things that were hurdles earlier. So enjoy that process. And if these self advocates teach just that, I think that will be a very big accomplishment.
Very true. So, do you think the children who are the individuals who are non speaking are always gathering information and absorbing, and that's why when they are given an opportunity to communicate, they start expressing so? So, how much do you believe in this?
I believe in it 100% because I'll share something from my personal experience. My son Anadeep is one of the co-authors in the first book, and he wrote that poem as answer for that empathy question, right? What is your response to the myth that autistics lack empathy? And the answer, the poem he wrote, it was so shocking for me. Like, I homeschool him, I spend all my waking hours with him, and I've never seen him sit and watch news because we hardly having a news channel. So, and yet he is grasping so much from what is going on. And he got that. I never asked him that question. So that was the first time he was answering that. And he just answered that entire poem, typed out that entire poem in 10 minutes flat. He actually takes longer, but he was so hyped about answering it that, and I thought, when did you gather all this information? This is, I mean, I didn't think that he was so passionate about answering this. And I think it was very strong response from him, because he generally is very that was, as you can imagine, it totally shocked me. So he was listening, he was gathering information much more than I thought possible. So that was the first time he got the question, and that was the first time I realized that he knew so much. He thought so deeply about these things.
Well, I ask this because some of us think that the child is not paying attention. Why even read? Because children don't. Sometimes children don't read by themselves. They don't pick up a book and start reading aloud like other kids. So, and we also in the due course kind of lag off or give it up reading to us. So reading to kids, even though they're not always with us, is very crucial. You say, right? So that we
Yeah.
absorb what we are to convey.
Yes, not just reading, but exposing them to all sorts of knowledge out there, right? They may not sit and sit in a typical classroom style, right? Sit and listen to classes from morning to evening, and that's the mindset we have. That's the only way to learn or absorb in a class. But no, they run around, they play, they get up, they sit, but they're still absorbing. It's just a different way of learning. And while we are on this context, it's also important how we talk about them, how we talk to them with respect, not like, see, even when my son was very young, I always asked his permission before doing something. And he always had an option to say no. And when he says no, I listen. I listen to his no. I respect his no, because it is coming from a space of sensory difficulties or other issues he's going through. And we have this, what do you call? We have this thing at home between us, where sometimes when something comes up and we disagree on something, so we have this trump card that we can use. We say that it's non-negotiable. Sometimes we have to use that, right? So I always used to say, when it's not safe for him, or when he has to eat or do something, like so I say, sorry, this is non-negotiable, I can't negotiate. Otherwise we negotiate. If we don't want to do it for this long, let's try for this long, or um, change the pattern, or change the topic or the subject. Those are all negotiable. But running on the road, leaving my hand and running on the road is non-negotiable, right? So that was, mostly I was the one who was using it. And one day he gave me a surprise, and we were planning to go out of station. And he said, sorry, we can't go. This is non-negotiable. So yes, and yes, we stopped. We didn't go. And he said he traveling and going out is a sensory bombardment for him. So yes, we respect that. It's always important to respect what they are saying, because the people you truly like are people who respect you. And when you like someone, you are more open to learning from them or spending time with them, right? So that's what we have tried to create at home, and it has helped us a lot tremendously.
That's very true. People who we like are the ones we respect the most. The other way too. So
Yeah.
back to Talking Fingers, Padma. So for this part two, volume two, how did you select the authors? Did they approach you, or did you talk to parents? Did you send out a message in different forums? How did it happen?
Yes, I did send out the message. I put a message on my group also, spellers group also, and the message got widely circulated. A few of them reached out. A few of them left a message recommending a friend or someone they knew who would make it fit. And I spoke to nearly 70, 80 families during before that. And most of them, as I said, they were very apprehensive, because they felt that their child could not communicate at the level that was expressed in Talking Fingers. So most of my time was spent trying to explain that it does not have to be there. We are trying to show that every level of communication is a valid form of communication. You don't have to be an eloquent communicator or a poet to be featured on Talking Fingers. You just have to be able to understand the question and answer it independently. With independently, I mean not without any physical support. That's not what I meant. What I mean is independently comprehend and answer the question in your own words. That is the only requirement, and I'm glad that Talking Fingers 2 came out, because people who read this book will realize that uh, they are not poets. They are not people who they are we use regular language, regular conversations are happening in this book, and I'm glad that people who read this will be more encouraged to try that out and not feel apprehensive when I approach them for the next book. And most of them, one of the best things that happened during the conversation was, see, till we read Talking Fingers, we didn't know that we could ask our children these questions. This is my fault that we didn't think along those lines. But uh, my son or daughter will be ready for the third. That was the response that I got more, and it made me so happy that the confidence that the book or the movement that the writers are trying to create, it's building, right? Only a confident parent can help their nurture their child, because there will be days when your child may not be willing to communicate. There will be an off day, sensory or other emotional issues. So you need to be consistent, persistent, and patient. So I met a lot of beautiful parents along the way.
Yeah, true. Must be a great journey, right, for you.
Very true.
When they answer, when they send you the answers, if there are like spelling errors, grammatical errors, something like that, do you keep it as it is, or do you change it a little bit to make it more meaningful and then publish?
Yes, I do a little bit. If there are spelling errors, I do correct. And if there are sentence, because they communicate differently, it's just I try to do it with as little change as possible. Perhaps changing a word here and there, or moving a word here and there in the sentence, moving the word here and there. And I've tried to keep it as true to the text as possible with as minimal intervention from my side, because it's their voice, right? My duty is to make sure that it reaches as many people as possible.
There is a question in the chat. I think Champaka is asking, what is the age of kids who are part of these books?
It ranges from 10 to mid 30s. We have a diverse age group.
But the prerequisite is that they should be able to spell. Or is that what you're looking for?
Communicate in any
Yeah.
way, write,
Okay.
type, spell, point, any way, but they should be able to answer, understand, and answer those questions. It's their voice, it should be their voice.
Padma, you have a video for the authors of Talking Fingers. Do that now.
Yes, yes, please play that.
Thank you for putting together a great video as an introduction to all the authors.
Yes, and see how beautifully they have responded. Seeing it, I mean, I've read it so many times, but still seeing it feels me super proud of them. It's a superpower, right? To express so many thoughts in so few words. And we keep on talking a whole day and we fail to do that. And that's an art they have mastered.
So, apart from Talking Fingers, Padma, you also edited a lot of books that Aditi has written, Navneet has written, and then recently Akshat also released a book. So what is these books? So, do you help them with topics or them come up with express their thoughts better? How do you involve in these books?
No, my involvement is very minimal as always. Actually, first time when Aditi approached me for her novella with you right through, she wanted me to beta read it before putting up on Kindle. And I was so pleasantly surprised and honored because for our co-authors, sharing their writing and is like showing us their most vulnerable and precious thing, right? It's very close to their hearts. And when someone like them asks for your opinion, for your beta reading, and say how does it look, it's an honor because they are trusting you to understand what they are trying. And I mean, it's the trust that clearly moved me a lot. And I read and suggested a few changes, very few, and she made them. And that was how it came first started. And then Navneet sent me a very lovely message one time asking, I said, Padma Aunty, I want to write a book and I want you to be my editor. So I said, it's an honor, Navneet. I would love to do that. And each one has a very distinct style of writing, right? Aditi's is very different from Navneet's, and it's different from Akshat's. So my involvement is just to make sure that everything flows it flows smoothly. And if there are any words that need a little change or something that strikes up as odd or something, right? When you read it, I'm reading it as a reader, regular reader, and I'm a book lover, so I kind of read gobble up books a lot. So I'm reading it as a typical reader, and I'm trying to see what they're trying to convey. And if that is not easily conveyed to the reader when you're reading it, I try to suggest minimal changes. That's all I do. I don't encourage them. I don't give them any ideas. They are the genius here. I'm just the reader who reads and says, can we do this something? Can we change this word a little here or add a comma here? That's it. They are the ones who do everything. Then later Ritu reached out and said she wanted me to edit her book. And then that happened. It's they all, and I'm truly indebted to them for trust they have placed in me because coming from them, as I said earlier, they are trusting me with their most valuable possession. And they are taking whatever little suggestions I have, they're doing it, they're implementing it, and that makes me truly happy to be a part of their uh, journey as a writer. It's truly an honor. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Padma. So we had a few questions about creative writing.
Hmm.
You want to take it up now? It's like if you recognize that your child is able to express his or her thoughts well, so how do you encourage that? How do you nourish that into writing something more than that, more than just expressing your thoughts?
Yes. So, when you see that your child is expressing his or her thoughts in a sentence form better, and they're getting better and they're interested. And before we start, I want to say that whenever in our Talking Fingers co-authors, they have published or written poems, I think all parents will agree with me that we didn't start out with making them becoming a creative writer. What probably started was teaching them comprehension skills and understanding and writing skills. Then gradually they realized, or our parents realized, that they have a talent for this. And that's how it came up. So don't think of it as developing creative writing skills. Think of it as improving his or her comprehension skills, reading, listening, understanding, thinking skills, and problem solving skills. That's how I went about with my son. So I'm not a professional. I'll tell you what I tried with my son and what worked. And I hope some of them will click with you too. So what happened was, once he started communicating in sentences, we have these sequences, right? You find them on Pinterest and everywhere, where a scenario, four sequences. We used to take that, and I used to ask him what would have happened first. Print out, jumble it up, and ask him what part of it came first, right? And write a sentence about it. Then write the steps in sequence. Like, for instance, going to a park, right? One is getting out of home, then going in a car, going to the park, and coming back, right? Coming back with some balloons or something, those sort of pictures. So that's how. And first what happened, second what happened, and uh, that's how we started. And what I wanted to try was teaching problem solving, thinking. Come when you One thing that is constant in life is there will be some or other problem coming up. It can be a minor one or it can be a major one. And most of my homeschooling focus has been on teaching him problem solving skills, coming up with solutions to different scenarios that may happen. So in that four picture sequence I was talking to you about, the communicate, what about your car breaks down when you're leaving for a park? There's no car, what will you do? Then take an auto. If you can't find an auto, then probably postpone the trip, right? Try to hire a cab. And if nothing happens, then you postpone the trip. So eventually, when it happens, they know that these steps are happening and probably our trip will get postponed. And that inevitable meltdown that comes with a change of plan, they are able to handle that better. So this is something you can use for any story or any scenario, right? What if this happens? So that they know that there is a plan B, C, and D happening. They can come up with multiple options. If they not this, then what? And this ask them to write it down. And I feel that this is something that will help them in their real life scenarios also down the line, because we have to always come up with solutions, right? And one way, and you see a give them a picture scenario of people conversing or something. You can find them, a lot of them, on online. And there are many wonderful resources also on teachers by teachers and other places. So I purchase them a lot, resources, and they break down that scenario, right? You see something happening, people having a serious conversation, and one is upset, another is trying to reason, and they ask, what do you think is happening? Who are these people? Why does this one look so upset? And someone is holding their head. And that was one of the scenarios that we were trying. And one of the questions was, what do you think will make this better? This scenario, what do you think will make this better? And he wrote a moment of understanding. So, yes, very true, right? It takes a moment to understand other person's perspective. And most of our disagreements and miscommunications can go away if you can just take a moment to understand what the person. So he wrote a story. He wrote a few, small paragraph about that, about how that son wanted to go somewhere, and the mom didn't let him go. So he was upset, and the mom was trying to reason with him and explain why it was not a good choice at that time. So that's how we did. And but the breakthrough came when we started playing videos. See, picture is static, right? It's easy for him to grasp what is happening there. A video, there are many moving parts. People's expressions change. So many things happen. And when I played a video, short ad with words, that was too overwhelming for him. Listening and watching all that is happening around, he couldn't comprehend. So that's when I went for wordless videos. There are plenty of them on the net, or else advertisements which have minimal words. I've shared one such thing with you, Bindu. Will you please play it?
I'll play that. Yes. Were you able to hear the audio in the previous video, this one video I shared?
No, I couldn't.
The memories that we hold dear are the ones that we make here. Can we take some time to show that we care? Do we even have a moment to share?
Many things make the complete man. Making moments to cherish is one of them. Raymond, the complete man.
The video audio played this time?
Yes, yes. Thanks for sharing, Bindu. So this was one of my favorite ads, and it still brings a smile whenever I see this. So I thought, let me try this with it. This has just a music in the background with little lyrics, and then I played this video, and I asked him what is happening, and he was able to do answer this very well. He explained it in a paragraph what was happening. So we started those trying out different scenarios thing, right? Then stop the video where he's sees the children waiting for the car wash for raisins, and then play the music also, that he has some memories of some. That means, what does that mean? It means that he could have done something like that when he was younger, something similar, and that seeing the children brought back those memories. See, there are multiple ways to interpret a scenario, right? It could be that he remembers something, or he feels connected to the cause, or he knows one of the kids and does not want them to feel bad, or he's just, well, someone who is very empathetic person, right? These are all the options he came up, and then I kept asking what else could have happened, what else. So one of the options was, what if he was very busy on that day, and he could not help the kids out. So my son replied he could have donated money to the charity. Yes, that was, yes, he could have done that. And then I asked, do you think it would have made the kids happier to get the money, or to wash the dirty car? And he thought for a while, and he said, washing the dirty car would have made them happier. And then why? Washing a dirty car is not something that makes anyone happy, right? Because they are involved in it. It's something they are earning. and donating, right? Not someone is giving it out of the goodness of their heart. They're earning their money that they plan to donate, and as is evident in the video, they are overjoyed when they see it. So those are all. This he wrote in a story format. This was the first time he wrote a complete story, and we tried 3 iterations of the same story. Like he couldn't do that part. He was busy and he left and he donated money. That was another story. And another story was that he knew the charity they were trying to donate to, and he wanted to help the kids feel happy and also donate to the charity. So there are, and another was in the part where he gives money to the charity. He wrote that he also shares that with his friends and make sure that they also donate to that charity. So there are, I was truly surprised. Like, see, a simple few seconds ad can trigger so many scenarios, so many ways to talk about it, right? So just like that, use every means available around you. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Just search for them on the internet. Any scenario that you can see is a potential use for to develop writing skills. And not, and as mentioned earlier, please just don't focus on writing skills. Focus on developing thinking skills, analytically, problem solving. Pause that video or a thing or ask questions. What will you do if you are in that place? How will you solve this problem? And if this is something that if you see someone that are planning a trip, if there is a video or a scenario where they're planning a trip, then ask them, when do you, if you are on that, if you are in that video, if you are in that scenario, then when do you think you want to travel? Where do you think you want to go? And if you are planning for a travel, get out the calendar and ask them to mark where they are going, when they are returning, how they would like to travel, where they would like to go, what they would like to pack for that. Because depending on the destination, what you pack also differs, right? It's like getting as much as possible out of anything. It's just a simple scenario or a video, but how much learning can happen in that is limitless. Depends on how patient you are and how much your child can do that. So it's very individualized.
Yeah, that's amazing, Padma, because he wrote his stories based on a few seconds. That's something else. Struggle with open communication, what you're talking about. So we start off with giving multiple choices. We start with prompting them with pictures, trying to help them understand and giving them words to express themselves. So how crucial is this? What do you think about moving towards open communication from here?
Yes. Bindu, the ultimate goal is open communication, right? Because even when you're giving multiple choice, you're restricting his answers to the choices. That's how we start. Obviously, that's how we start. But I would encourage you all to move on to open communication as soon as possible. It need not be big questions. It can be daily things. Like suppose he likes to eat something. So ask him, do you want to eat this or that? And why that? No options given. Why that? Why does he like that? It may be the taste or the vegetable or the look, or where do you want to eat that? Right? At home, at a restaurant, at a park, or at a party. And if he chooses a party, if he answers a party, then who do you want to go to that party with? What is it, a birthday party? It has to be a mix of giving him options and also giving him or her a chance for open communication. That is it has to be very personalized. It has to be a topic which is very close to the child, because unless they feel that connect, jumping from close to open communication is a huge jump. So let's start with something that is very close to them, that they're very comfortable with. If they like playing with a certain toy, like a car, most of our children love playing with cars. So I'm just using that example. My son used to love, and he used to. So I used to ask him, "Where is your car going now?" So it's a park. He loves park. So it's always a park. So which park? And that was, there were no options given. He knew a few park names, so that was the answer. So are you taking Amma with you today? Yes. So Nana is also coming. Yes. So what if Nana is busy? Then Amma and me myself will go. That's how you move depending on how they respond. It's a very fluid scenario, and just adapt to how they are responding, but keep the conversation going. It's called as circles of communication, right? Once they close one circle, you move on to the next circle, but it has to happen in a more fluid and natural way, not in the typical scripted or a choice scenario. And before you realize that they're opening up more and more, they're expressing their thoughts more and more. I hope this helps.
Yes. So following up on that, so how do you think they develop this vocabulary when they move towards open communication? Now that you are not giving them any choices and they have to write or type something on their own, so how to get them to acquire more words to do this?
Bindu, I think they know a lot more than we presume them to be. That has been my personal experience, and I think most of Talking Fingers families will agree with that, because the words they write are not words we taught them, are not words we encourage them or a part of an app or whatever communication means they were using. They are words that are coming from inside. They absorb a lot more than we know, lot more than we realize. If you think that they're absorbing 1x, just imagine they're absorbing 5x of what is happening around them. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like we typically do. I don't have to look at you and keep nodding my head to understand what you are saying. I can be running around. I can be, when you look at them, they're totally not paying attention to you, but they are absorbing this. So that's why I say, when therapist first said that you should talk to your child in only one language, don't talk to him in multiple languages. I said, if he can understand, why can't I talk to him in multiple languages? At home, when we talk on phone with anyone, uh, so when we talk, I say, we don't talk in a single language. Sometimes we switch between two languages or three, depending on how that person is comfortable with that, right? And you go back and think, did I speak mostly in English, or did I talk that sentence in English or other language? You're totally confused. You don't recall, right? Because it's a fluid thing that is happening. So, and I think that's the part. Keep reading to them, keep talking to them as age appropriate. You can coddle them, you can do everything, but when you are interacting with them, treat them like an equal person to you. I think they can absorb and learn a lot more. They know a lot more than what we think they know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. There was in the chat box, I think Pritam asked that sometime back, how to encourage our children to ask questions in a conversation.
Ask questions in a conversation. So I think if we see a scenario like the same thing I was telling you about a mother and a son having a disagreement, the previous example of mine, ask them if they walk into that room, if they walk into the certain room and they see this as happening, then what will you ask? Or if that son is your friend and he comes and meets you, they, what would be the first thing that you would ask? Hey, are you okay? Are you upset? This can be about the colloquial conversation part, or else there are many multiple resources that teach them to ask questions. You can try those, because I never struggled with that part with my son, so probably I'm not the right person to talk about this. He was good at that. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that much.
Sure, no problem. Do you want to take the questions that we got in the document?
Yeah, sure.
So I'll just read it out and maybe you can answer it.
Yeah, please.
So the question is, what is the thought process behind the unique format of the book? I think you explained that a little
Yeah,
bit already.
yeah. Yes.
Expand on it, or we can go further.
Yes, thought. I think I've answered that because the thought process was to give them a chance to show the world what they're capable of. And unless you ask those questions, we thought they wouldn't get that opportunity. So that was
Okay.
why the unique Q&A format came about.
Mm-hmm. Yes. How did you narrow down the questions asked to the 16 authors?
See, three of us wrote those questions, myself, Chitra, and Miss Archita Basu. So we all wrote separate questions, and when we combined them together, we realized that a few of them were repetitive. So we
Mm.
tried to keep the range as broad as possible. That was the only criteria to select the questions. We give them as much of an opportunity as possible and ask them questions no one has ever asked them before
Mm-hmm.
and see what they answer.
Yeah. And the next one is, how did you pick the authors for Talking Fingers 1 and 2?
Picking the authors for one was the mostly they were bloggers or writers or people we knew from earlier uh, contacts. So that was quite smooth sailing. But for the second book, as I mentioned, people were very apprehensive. So it took me some convincing to get them to try. So most of the time, what I would say was, you have questions from the first book, right? Keep your mind completely open. Don't assume that this will be tough for your son or daughter, and just try out 5 questions. Try out 5 questions and see how they'll answer. And after trying out, they were so shocked and they said, yes, my son can do this. Now I'm confident that we can be a part of this book. So,
And
was-
I think the next one you already answered it at great length. Padma, do you want to take it up again? How
no,
do you help the child interested in creative writing expand their vocabulary?
yeah, I think we have answered that, right? Bindu?
Yes, yes. What has been the response for Talking Fingers, Volume 1?
So the response for Talking Fingers Volume 1 is, you all know, it was truly beyond our expectations. We thought a few parents would be encouraged and try out expanding, moving along on the taking the next step on their AAC journey. But it's like we were waiting for a book like that. All of us were waiting for something like that to come along to nudge us out of our state of idleness or a state of dormancy, to be true. And many professionals came out, encouraged the book. They gave away the book at conferences. And it was like a beautiful thing that developed into it, took on a life of its own. And many parents reached out and said that, see, we were always apprehensive about trying AAC, and now we are kind of looking forward to that journey. And people who were using basic needs, they were the limiting AAC to basic needs. They took that to the next level, asking them open-ended questions and see how they respond. So there is the most beautiful thing is that there is a time gap, right, between when you realize that your child may not be able to speak verbally to when you start exploring AAC. Talking Fingers has bridged that gap. It has shortened that gap considerably. So that, we don't think twice about maybe AC is not from a son. AC is restrict his communication. And talking is what we want. Talking verbally is what we want for our son. But with after reading Talking Fingers, many felt that it was communication that they were looking for.
Right.
And if that communication comes in the form of verbal communication or written communication, it's equally valid. If I speak to you or I type in my responses, they are still my thoughts.
Yeah.
So that was the best thing to come out of it.
Talking Fingers definitely has done a great job in bridging the gap, like you said, between
Yes.
AAC and non-speakers. And there's another question on this reach as well. How has it reached the neurotypical population? If you have an idea of what the reach has been.
I'm not sure how much it has reached, but but with this second book, what we are doing is I've been sharing on social media and in the spellers group also about how we did participated in an Infosys diversity event recently, where we spent nearly 5 days talking about the importance of communication and how not speaking doesn't mean that they have nothing to say. Just means they need a different mode of communication to express their thoughts. So a lot of people listened, a lot of people were empathetic to the cause. Some of them bought the books. And we are participating in book fairs this time. We are going to 4 book fairs. We are already in Kolkata Book Fair and Chennai Book Fair, and we'll be going to Hyderabad Lit Fest and Delhi World Book Fair also. We are trying to participate in as many events as possible, because unless we talk, people are not going to stop their prejudice, right? Unless we speak loudly and make sure that the message reaches, uh, the walls of prejudice are going to stay. So we're trying our best as possible to reach as many people as possible. And I would urge you all to help us along in this journey. See if you can any event that you think that we can participate and help spread the message, please reach out. And we are also trying to get into bookstores, physical bookstores, and we have been successful with one firm till recently. But we are trying, all of us, all the parents at Talking Fingers are trying their best to make sure that we reach as many people as possible.
Yeah, if it can reach the bookstores, then nothing like it. Because
Yes,
then it can reach a lot of people.
yes, but the thing is, Bindu, it's a very long journey. And when I submitted the manuscript for the Talking Fingers too, this was the idea, right? To reach maximum reach, widen the reach. So I gathered details of a few book marketing firms and re-talked to them and explained what the book was about. And the uniform response I got was so discouraging. They said that this is a non-fiction book. And in non-fiction genre, books that sell are self-help books, right? How to be better at this, how to get peace of mind, and this healthy food, diet. Those are the ones that sell in self-help. Non-fiction may whatever genre that sells is self-help, and yours is a very niche topic, which very few people would be interested in reading. So if you are thinking of going to book fairs and putting your book in the physical bookstores, it's an impossible dream unless you're willing to spend 40 to 50 lakhs of rupees. So that's something beyond our budget, right? And whenever someone says it's an impossible dream, uh, I think no one should use those words with an autism parent, because we have been trying to make impossible dreams come true since we heard the diagnosis. So, yes,
Right.
yes. So that's a challenge, right? When you say you want your book to go to book fairs, come on, that's a joke. That's not happening. So, yes, that's a challenge we took, and now we are going to 4 book fairs. They said it can't happen. We are trying to make it happen. So,
All the best to you, Padma. More power to you. But at least as parents, we can definitely take the book to events in our cities, in our localities.
yes,
April is coming up. There is Autism Awareness Month. A lot of events will be happening around us. So I'm sure we will do that for you.
thank you.
And
It's
for the
our
book.
journey, right? We are
Yeah,
trying to make the world a better place for all our children.
yeah.
So next time a young non-speaking child communicates using AAC, the people who are around him or her respect and understand and give them the space to communicate and respect what they're trying to say.
Mm.
So this is what we are trying to do for all of us.
Yes, yes, yes. So, for this is for the next book. There are a few questions. So, my kid is an AAC user, and we are interested in our kid contributing to the book. I think they're asking about the future volume of the book. So, how do
Yeah.
we get in touch with you?
Please get in touch with me through email. We have at the end of the book, we have an email, talkingfingersautisticIndia@gmail.com. Please email it, get in touch. Reach out to you at the earliest. And I would love to meet your son or child and see how they are doing. And it's an honor if you reach out to me. I would love them to be a part of the next book.
Sure, thank you. And do you plan to release a volume every once in 2 years, 2.5 2 years? Is that a plan that you have?
Yes, that is a plan. As long as you can, I can find enough co-authors who are willing to take the journey. That is the ultimate plan, because we need to keep doing something to break down the barriers. It's not like once we did and we can step back and become complacent. No, we have to keep doing this.
Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes,
And I think the next question we have answered already, Padma. How to work on
yeah,
language development in minimally expressive children.
yes.
And this also seems to be a repeated question. How to make books written by AAC users reach neurotypical kids?
See, for neurotypical kids, what do they read? They read stories, right? They read stories with lots of pictures or just stories depending on their age group. So I think that we should, if you want to reach kids, that is the best place to start, because they are the future people who our children will interact with in future. And children are more open to acceptance, right? They are less prejudice than adults. So if we can bring out books which feature short stories about acceptance, about differences, and how we are different yet similar, and yet uh, how we may communicate differently, but how we all, at the end of the day, all we want is friendship and acceptance. If we can convey that message through short stories, I think we can get more and more neurotypical kids to read and understand, and at the same time raise awareness and acceptance.
Yeah. The last question is, what's the plan for the future AAC user? Will the AI technology help them to have a voice for their language?
See, there are technology is always evolving. There was an app a while back where you could upload the face of the upload the picture of the child where the lips are closed, and when they talk, when they type in something, you can see the picture moving and it's as if the child is speaking. And that was very encouraging for my son in his initial days. And we have latest Avaz update where you can blend in intonations into your speech, right? So I think that is we are moving. But if any of the tech companies are listening in on this, I have a request. Please make something where we can teach pragmatic skills to our children, soft skills. Like, when we are having a conversation, there are many variables coming in, right? How we speak, the facial expression, the way we move our eyes, the body language, and the scenario, whether we are actually meaning what we say or are we using just sarcasm. And that's something we can use AI to create those things. If someone can develop that, that would be a best thing that would happen to our youth, to our children. Because some option where they can we can input a scenario, Like if someone you speak to someone, a neighbor, and they are in some sort of bad mood or something, and they misinterpret what you are saying, and they reply sarcastically, right? uh,
Mm.
that do they catch that sarcasm? Because it depends a lot on the way the person is conveying it, right? So if you just ask someone, hey, how are you? And they said, I'm so good. So it's not what they're saying, right? Or if someone is, when the person looks ill and you ask, how are you doing? I said, wonderful, right? That is something AI can help us with. Technology can help us with, so that our kids can practice these skills in a better environment. It's not like we can enact it every time. They can see the scenario and say what they will do in this place, what they will do in that place. It's not just AAC. I think it can help many children with autism learn those skills. I think I missed answering a question. Ninth one.
No, we answered all of them, Padma.
Okay.
In the chat box, Preetham has a question. Oh, okay, ninth one. Let me see. 1 second. Do you want to take this question while I go back and check the one the document? She asked to encourage our children to communicate with service and extended family members.
How do you encourage your child to communicate with extended family members? Yes. First of all, make sure that the extended family members know about their favorite topics of your child, and uh, what is something that will encourage them to talk. See, if your child loves a particular character or a movie or a song, they can start off with that. Yeah, I heard that you love this book. What do you like? Did you read this? When did you read? I'm planning to read this book. Where do I start with that? See, any time, not just extended family or anyone, we converse or we like to talk with people who show interest in us, who listen to what we like, and adapt to that, right? If I, for instance, if you talk about jewelry or latest fashion, it totally puts me off. I'll be like deer caught in headlights. So I'll be waiting for the conversation to be over. But if you talk to me about books, I'll start talking to you even if you are a total stranger. You come to me when and ask, this is a book, have you read? And say, yes, I've read, this happens, this is so lovely. You should try this, and that author wrote this and that. See, right? Even us, that's how we communicate. If you talk to me about something that interests me, I'll communicate better with you. If you come and say, this is the latest fashion sense, what do you think about it? And I say, must be good. Sorry, I don't have much idea about that. So that's how, even with extended family or friends, you make them aware of what is interesting for your child, what is their preference, how would they like to communicate. So it's like, building having a conversation with someone is like a bridge. They have to walk more than halfway across the bridge and wait for our child to join them. But initial steps they have to take. That has been my experience. Because once they realize that this is a safe person who will understand us, who will give us time to communicate and respect what we are trying to say, then they'll take the journey towards moving towards you. They'll open the conversation, they'll start a conversation. But initially, you have to be the one who takes that step, whether you are a extended family or friend, till they gain that trust in you.
Very well put. Thank you. I think the ninth question is about developing language in expressive kids. You have addressed it, but do you want to summarize it a little bit of all the things that you shared with us?
Minimally expressive kids. See, when you're talking about something, say, let's go back to the car example. Okay. If a car is something that your child likes, I'm just stating an example, then you can talk about, if you are trying to teach them colors, what is that color? Would you like your car to be red, green, yellow, blue? And why blue? Because blue is bright, or red is brighter for you. And what else is red around you? Maybe the table, maybe the napkin, or maybe your shirt you're wearing. Would you like to wear red? Do you think you like wearing red shirt? Yes, no. Why would you like to wear red shirt? Do you think red will look good on me? No, it won't look good. Okay, what will look good on me? Maybe you can give him options. It's like building on whatever they are doing. I think floor time helped me with this. Before that, I was kind of like um, tabletop teaching, just I teach, he learns. And it was kind of very static. He would just do the activities and go away. He would sit, he would do activities, but he would go away. We didn't have that bond, kind of, right? Then I read about floor time. It talks about moving to your child, exploring what interests them, what they are passionate about. So for my son, it was bouncing on a ball, gym ball. And bouncing on a ball was, my sensory system is exactly opposite to it. It kind of freaks me out. But I tried bouncing on a ball, and initially was surprised. He was very young then. I used to sit on the bouncing ball and put him on my lap, and we both used to do that. And he would, first time we did that, he literally turned around and looked at me, and he was so surprised, because I always say bounce a little less. It's kind of upsetting my sensory thing. But then he turned around and he looked at me, and I said, yes, I'm trying to do this with you because you like doing this. I'm going to try this with you. So he just turned and then he gave me this lovely smile. That was the first best smile I got out of him till then. And it's not just a small smile, it's something that lights up your eyes. And he was so happy that I was doing that with him. So just talk about what they are doing, expand it a little by little, slowly move on to more and more things. Talk about, whenever you are talking about something, try to use as many words as possible. Talk about what you are doing. See, before I came in, I told my son, see, Amma is going to dress up today, but it doesn't mean that I'm going out. It just means that I'm going to stay in a room and talk to some other parents. He is feeling a little bit unwell today. So I'll just give you a medicine. I'll go and I'll be back as soon as possible. I used as many words as possible, but words that is easy for him to comprehend, not depending on your child's level, of course. Talk to them about what you are doing, why you are doing, right? Why you are using certain safety precautions, why you don't use, when you are using a knife and cutting vegetables, he comes and I say, you don't, this is not something to play with a spoon, not with a knife. If you cut, this will happen. It's like you are constantly talking to them, and they're absorbing, they're learning. But you have to assume that they are understanding, that you are talking to someone who can absorb and understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I think that question was asked again by a parent here. I hope it answers. There's one more question in the chat, Padma. My son is communicating with writing. He answers questions. He also asks to me and his sister how to get more ideas to build up conversation with, how to use his writing as a strength, teach him aspects of real life of world.
Yes, thanks for this question. Actually, I was trying to talk about this when I was talking about creative writing, right? The aim should be to teach them to solve real life issues. And if they are, use that creative writing as a way to summarize what they have learned, right? If something like I hope you were there when I talked about going to a park scenario, right? Where what happens if this is not there? What happens if this problem comes up. Suppose he wants to eat something, right? If he wants to eat, say, dosa with a particular tomato chutney or something, whatever is interesting to your child. I'm just saying what my son likes. So I tell him that what does that involve? Dosa doesn't come automatically, right? You have to, there are certain steps involved before that. So it involves planning. It involves making sure that all that is in place before Amma starts making dosas for you. And what if we don't have tomatoes at home? So what do? You order them, you go to a shop and buy them, or else what do you do? Or else you adjust. Okay, not if not tomato, then some other chutney, right? And at this point, I want to talk to you about the importance of social emotional learning and making sure that they maintain their mental health. Because this is something which is very much crucial, but we don't focus on that. We need to teach them about learning about flexible thinking, because life is not like that. Life throws a lot of curveballs and you have to move along with them. Most times what we planned may not happen, so we adapt. That is what we need to teach them, because when I read books written by autistic people, they talk about how much of mental health issues they have faced because of this rigid thinking, or unable to adapt to certain scenarios, or not understanding what is happening or what is expected of them, and how best to cope with that. So, well, main focus of our homeschooling has been on that, teaching them social thinking. Because yes, now we are with our children, but down the line we can't be, right? They just have to learn to read the room, what is happening in the room, and not try to understand that if someone is crying, how best to do that. That was one of the things that you should teach your child, and how best to console them. It not be a big gesture, just go sit beside them and run your hand on their back, or else something. That's what my son does. That's how you model it for them, and teach them that how you do, how you cope when something doesn't turn up as you want, and how you cope when someone is rude to you, and how do you do when someone discourages you, or you face a scenario which is level of difficulty, and how you respond to that. See, sometimes what may appear as very small for us, small issue for us, is a big thing for them because of their sensory and other issues that they are facing. It will be a big thing. So we need to teach them that there are levels of difficulty in a situation. If this may seem like level of problem. If this is a problem of level 1, how do you respond? How do you categorize that as a small problem, and how do you respond to that? And if it is becoming a level 4 or 5 problem, then how do you solve it? That is obviously when you ask for help, right? So these are all things, planning things, knowing when, reading a calendar, reading schedules, reading everything, functional reading skills is, I think that's very important for our children. And since there is a limited amount of time that my son will sit and learn, I thought we need to focus on this more. I want him to be prepared to understand what's happening and how to respond when I'm not there. I'm trying. I don't know how much he'll be able to do it when the situation arises, but that's what we are all doing, right? Trying to teach them as best as we can and hope for the best.
A parent called Adila, she has a few questions. Ask her to unmute. Maybe she can ask you directly. She has typed something in the chat. Want to ask your question, Adila? Hello.
Yeah, hello. So my question is, like, I have got sore throat. So do the child my son is like he's communicating by writing. So do you think he will get as it is easy for him? Do you think he will get dependent on this kind of communication rather than trying to speak out, or rather than at least trying to or attempt to speak because he is completely non-verbal.
How
So
old is ma'am, if I can ask?
he is 4.5 years old.
He's 4.5 years old. So your question is whether when he is communicating through other means, will that in any way hinder his speech development, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
I don't think it will hinder. On the contrary to that, I think it will give him more confidence to speak. And if he is ready to speak whenever that is, he may speak. And if he is not, he's already communicating with you. And the goal of any speech is communication, right?
Yes, yes.
So as far as he is communicating, that's the major goal achieved.
Okay.
Some of them go on to develop speech, some may not. But I think either way, the goal of speech is achieved in
Yeah.
any form, right?
So it shouldn't hinder the speech development in like it shouldn't hinder, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It will give him confidence that what he's trying to communicate, you are listening.
Okay, okay.
It
And
teaches.
he's also understanding a language and like there are so many input, so many I have seen a lot of improvement in so many aspects like language development, grammar, everything. Like because of writing, he's even understanding what people are speaking to each other like that, even the
Yeah,
stories and everything. Just
yeah.
because able to write and he's using that's his strength, I feel. But
Hmm.
at the same time, I'm scared whether am I going in a wrong path because he's non-verbal and he's very good in writing. So
No, I don't think you're going in a wrong path. I think you're on a very good path. You are encouraging your child to work on his strengths, right?
yeah,
If he's
yeah, yeah.
in writing, well and good. Let him communicate through writing.
Okay. So there
Yeah.
is another question. Like I have like he's doing general conversation via writing. Like for example, where did you go today? And did you enjoy like that?
Hmm.
But I'm like how to level up the next level, how to level up like increase like his knowledge of like awareness. Is there any book or did you like in your books is there like all these kind of things are mentioned like how to increase his you know knowledge or how to build up the conversation. Like
Hmm.
what I know I'm doing with him, like I'm just like, but I want to know more about it because this is his strength. I want to learn more about it and I want to use his strength as
Hmm.
to improve him. So
The Talking Fingers does not cover this topic, but there are
mhm.
many wonderful books written, and you should take the help of an therapist who is welcome, who is accepting of all these forms of communication, and they'll guide you very well in this because it's a very individualized thing. They'll need to know what your child is interested or what steps he's struggling with to help you in that process. But I
Okay,
don't think you're going in any wrong direction. I think you're doing a great job.
okay.
Congratulations. Please keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Padma, one way that we could help the book written by AAC which neurotypical communicate population is what Srishti suggested. She buys a lot of books and donates them to local libraries and school libraries. So that's something we could do in India as well. Srishti is in the US, so
Hmm.
are willing to take these books. We can donate some books to them and have the kids read them. Talking Fingers or Aditi's books, anything that creates awareness about autistics and AAC users.
See, Bindu, we have already been doing this. For the first book, we gave away 300 copies of the books. We donated 300 copies of the books to big and small NGOs that work with, and also local libraries, and also people, inclusive schools everywhere. I think most of them have a free copy of Talking Fingers because anytime you see, suppose there is a parent who's struggling at a certain step and thinking, should I explore? Probably reading a book like this will urge them along, right? So that was the main reason for bringing out Talking Fingers. It's not for commercial purpose or anything. So if the book is available everywhere, maybe that parent can get that book and read and be encouraged. So we have given away multiple copies of the book, um, more than 300. And even for this book, we are giving away a lot of copies. Many major NGOs, big and small, already have our books. And yes, if anyone wants to do that, please get in touch. We would love to explore that also.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Padma. I don't see
And
any more questions.
can I say, I was also suggesting that parents of all the ND kids can actually buy, like I bought 5 copies of Talking Fingers and I ended up giving it to my teachers. Or when Aditi's book, if I end up, like, if I can get 5 copies, I can give it to the my school library, for example.
Hmm.
So my point is, if parents of ND kids can, whatever number of copies they can comfortably buy, just buy
Yes.
those and donate them to your local schools, your local libraries. That way, the onus is not completely on Padma and Chitra or anybody else associated directly with the book, is what I was trying to say.
Yes, yes, that's a lovely thought. And I think that's what I was trying to say, that this is uh, what we are trying to do for all our children, raising awareness, right? So I think we should all try as much as possible. If you can't buy and donate a book, maybe you can talk about it in your school. Maybe you can arrange a talk, or tell us about an opportunity to talk about this, connect us with the right people. So any way you can help, it doesn't have to be monetary, or it's just moral support, or connecting us with someone concerned. I think we should all work together, because at the end of the day, we are all trying to create a better tomorrow for all our children, irrespective of their age group, right? So yes, that's a lovely suggestion. Thank you.
Can I add one more thing about the mom who was asking about writing, that their child writes?
Mhm.
Uh, and you gave wonderful answer that it's going to only help them. The one thing that came to my mind was, if how to level it up, if they can sit, the mom can sit or dad can sit or anybody in the family can sit and do the same. Think about, let's say, think about a day today. Okay, I did this, then I went to the park, then I went to the grocery store, then I bought this. If mom is doing that exercise, like writing down, sitting down and writing down with the child, that will also help the child to think more and write more about their own thoughts and how to move forward with conversation or anything, knowing that they're saying that they're very doing very well already with writing,
Yes,
like
very.
something like metacognition, thinking out loud and doing
Yes,
it in the form that child is already strong at.
yes. And on this note, I would like to add that our children are perfectionists. They want to do things only they are good at, and when that's why when we introduce something new, they resist it, because they are afraid of failure, of not being able to accomplish whatever is expected of them. So when you are talking aloud to your child, like what I do is, I talk to him and I say, see, I tried to do this, but I couldn't. I failed at this. But that's okay, right? I tried my best. And I'm happy that I tried my best. I'm happy that I attempted to do something I have never done before. So that gives them the onus of thinking, right? You don't have to succeed at everything you do. You can keep trying, and it's okay to fail. It's okay to struggle initially and then uh, succeed later on. Like, talk to them about how you struggle or how you fail sometimes, and how you cope when you are feeling down. So that way, it will help them with their when they are struggling. When they say that this is not something limited to me, right? Even mom struggles. So if mom struggles and is coping, then you are giving them a role model of someone who is struggling and still coping. I think that will set a good mindset and help them with their emotional learning and everything also.
Anyone has any more questions from the audience? I don't see any in the chat box. Padma, thank you so much for taking time. I hope Anudeep feels better. And
Yeah, thank you.
although you have to be with him today, it was a great talk. Learned a lot of things, much beyond talking fingers. And
Yeah. See, you're talking about something that I'm passionate about, so I'm going on talking.
thanks for sharing your journey as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Bindu. Thank you for hosting me. And thank you, everyone, for your lovely questions and listening patiently for so long. And yes, please read Talking Fingers and please review the book. Don't just read, review it, because we Indians have this habit of reading and keeping our thoughts to ourselves. So would be great if, see, once you review, the co-authors can read it. They can read the impact that their writing is having on you, how it is helping you, and that is encouraging, right? So please share your thoughts after reading, review it, share it on social media, and I will make sure all the parents would be delighted to read your thoughts. As and the co-authors, it will just boost their confidence levels.
Repeating what you already said, please help this book reach a lot more. The TF2 is coming out. It's already available on Amazon. It's in all the countries, not just in India. So please buy them. Talk to them about parents, other parents, and neurotypical parents as well. And please help the book reach a larger audience this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all the participants who joined us today. And thank you, Padma.
Thank you, Bindu. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.